This is part 2 of how my auntie unalived my parents, not physically, but mentally and emotionally. So now my mum's been released and she has nowhere to go because obviously they've taken the house from my mum and dad. So now my mum is homeless. She has little money left. So she decides to get on a bus and just take it to the last stop. She had no plans on what to do. Obviously, she has no one to talk to, no one to reach out to. So she just gets on the bus up until the last stop, and she kept doing that for a couple of hours. Within those hours, she started getting pains in her tummy, and obviously that was the start of contractions. So she decides to get on a bus to go to the hospital so that she can find out what's going on. So my mum arrives at the hospital and now it's time for her to get checked over. So the midwife checks her over and she wasn't exactly at the 4 centimeters dilation point, but her vitals were very high. So for example, her blood pressure, etc. So because of that, they had to admit her into hospital. And 2 days later, that's when she gave birth to me. She had a C-section. She had to stay in the hospital for up to a week with me. So that was the case. So once the week came up, my mum and myself was discharged. So after she got discharged with me, she still had, the keys to the property. Remember, they've taken the property away from her, so she couldn't go back there. But she still had the keys and, she's just given birth. She has nowhere to go. It's winter, it's cold. So what does she do? She ends up going to the property. So she puts the key through to see if it still works and if they haven't changed the locks. So now she's put the key through the door and the key still works, the door's open. But as you can imagine, there's no gas, there's no electric, the house is freezing. Like I said, it was winter times and my mum had no money and obviously she had to feed me. She couldn't breastfeed me because she wasn't really eating herself, so she couldn't really produce breast milk. So what she done was she got a crisis loan, and a crisis loan is something that they used to do back in the days where they give you emergency money if you're in a vulnerable state or if you're a vulnerable person. So that's what my mum done, and she received £10, and that £10 had to sustain her for a while. So she couldn't actually buy me formula because that was expensive. So what she decided to do was buy me baby food. You can imagine, I'm a newborn baby. I have 3 kids myself. I'm a mother myself. All the mothers out there, you know that you can't give food or baby food to a newborn. Like at that stage, it's literally only milk. They can't even drink water. So yeah, that's what she was feeding me. Remember, no electric, no gas, so she couldn't even warm up the food to give me. So she was literally feeding me cold baby food out of the jar. So one evening, my mum said she felt so low, so vulnerable. She felt like she wasn't herself. So she literally put me in a sling and left the house. She got on a bus and once again, just kept going to the last stop, getting another one going to the last stop until she just felt so low about herself that she just didn't want to be here anymore. She just wanted to end it all because what is she really living for? And that was her frame of mind at that time. She started walking towards a busy road and a lady from afar could see my mum. So the lady saw my mum from afar and she noticed that my mum wasn't in the right state of mind just from her body language. So as my mum was approaching the road, the lady literally ran and stopped my mum. And my mum broke down and just started saying everything as if she knew this lady. But my mum said she just had no one to talk to. So she literally just vented everything out. So the lady was so lovely to my mum. She got my mum a bed and breakfast for that night, and in the morning my mum told me that she followed the lady and sorted emergency accommodation out, and yeah, the lady just helped her so much. So once all of that was sorted and she moved into the emergency accommodation, she said it was very lonely. It was a very, very lonely. She was so scared. She had no one to talk to. But luckily enough, my dad's lawyer found a way to communicate with my mum. I'm not sure how though. I don't remember my mum telling me how that happened. But the lawyer found a way to communicate with my mum, and my dad and my mum got into communication again. So a few weeks later, my dad was released from prison, and he joined my mum and myself at the emergency accommodation. So now they are back to square one. Things are just looking so low for them, so dark for them. And honestly, my dad was a fighter, but honestly that took a lot out of him. And that's when the beginning of him not having trust for people started. So yeah, they was building their life slowly. I'm just gonna fast forward a little bit because there's so much to this story. But yeah, they were building their life slowly. So from emergency was temporary accommodation. I believe it was the second temporary accommodation that we had is when my mum and dad gave birth to my brother, and after that we moved into our permanent. I believe I was like 11 or 12. I can't really remember the age that I was when we settled into our permanent accommodation. But yeah, we finally settled into our permanent accommodation, and that's when my parents were like, listen, no more bad luck, no more negativity. We're gonna strive and we're gonna do it. And that's when my dad decided to go back into education and study to become a mental health nurse. So my dad, achieved that, and he started as a mental health nurse. I believe he started in 2005. Yeah, I believe he started as a mental health nurse in 2005. And once again, my dad is a hard worker, so he put his head down, working hard, just trying his hardest to get back on track. So now things are looking up, and my dad is sending money back home to Ghana and building his property out there, because obviously his retirement plan is him and my mum retire and go back to Ghana and just live life. So he was sending money home back to Ghana and getting his house built, and he built a lovely 5-bedroom bungalow in Ghana, which was one of his biggest, proudest achievements that he done. So yeah, I believe my auntie got a whiff of this and was extremely upset. She was angry the fact that my mum and dad have managed to pick themselves up. My dad's built his 5-bedroom bungalow back home. He's also helped my mum's family build their family house. So all of that was raging inside of her. Unfortunately, around this time, my mum started having little symptoms here and there, and unfortunately she got diagnosed with end-stage kidney failure. I believe that was around 2008. So then my mum started to have treatment, which is dialysis, 3 times a week for 4 hours. So it was draining. And I remember my dad would, encourage my mum, the pep talk, whatnot, but you could see in his face that he was also worried, but obviously he tried not to show this. So yeah, my mum was going through a tough time. Me and my brother saw my mum go in and out of hospital. Obviously I was a teenager around that time, so I wasn't really coping with all of this too well, so I would try my best to stay out as much. My brother was like 7 years younger than me, so he had no choice but to stay at home. So he witnessed a lot of my mum going in and out of hospital. So it was a normal day, and usually my mum calls back home to Ghana to speak to her family, especially her niece. So this niece, her mum is my mum's older sister. That's another sister of my mum's, but she passed away a few years ago. So yeah, she called, was speaking to her niece as usual, but then this conversation was kind of different. So my mum's niece suggested that she would love to donate a kidney to my mum, and honestly, my mum was overwhelmed. She was shocked. You know, someone loves her so much to donate a kidney. She was honestly so overwhelmed. They have a really good relationship because my mum and dad, you know, looked after her growing up, and my dad also put all of her kids through school, was paying their school fees, you know, so they really had a strong relationship. My mum's niece, you know, called my mum, called my dad. She even changed her surname to my dad's name, Opong. So, you know, there was a lot of love there. So my mum and dad thought anyways. She didn't give an answer straight away when she spoke to my niece that day, but what she did say is that she would speak to my dad and then, you know, come back to her about it, and also she does need to discuss this with my niece's mum as well. So now she's gone away and started discussing this with my dad. My dad was very hesitant. Would you blame him? Considering what my auntie done to him, you know. So he was very hesitant, but my mum spoke him round, and in the end he accepted and went with it. Then they also spoke to my cousin's mum, and she gave the thumbs up and was like, yep, she accepts. So yeah, they started the process, and I believe the NHS, you know, was involved as well, and they offered her a medical visa to come to London to do the transplant for my mum. So once everything went through, all the documents went through, she came to London in the year of 2010. So when she arrived, everything was well. Like I could see like my mum being happy, you know, smiling, and my mum and dad knew that, you know, when someone comes from abroad and, you know, the tourism, they've done all the tourism that they can, they start becoming bored because they've been through it. So they decided to get a job for my cousin, and my cousin is a really good hairdresser back in Ghana because she went to hairdressing school. That's something that my mum and dad put her through. And there was a hair salon at the bottom of my mum and dad's road. My mum and dad knew the owner very, very well. And my dad decided to have a talk with the owner and was like, listen, my niece has come from Ghana. She just wants to do a little part-time job, you know, just to earn a little bit of money so she's able to send money back home to her 3 kids. So the owner was like, oh, yeah, fine, why not? Then she started working at the hair salon. So now, you know, everything's going well, everything's going fine. So now this is where things started changing. At first, when appointments was being made, my cousin would follow, you know, my mum, go for the checkups. You know, everything was going fine until one day she started slacking. So when it was time for an appointment or whatever, my cousin would be like, oh, my body hurts, or I've got a headache, or, you know, just slacking. But my mum didn't really say anything. What she did say is to my cousin that is she sure that she really wants to do it? If not, she's not going to be upset, she's not going to be angry. She should just let her know. So then one day came and we got a letter through the post, and it was a letter from St. Helios Hospital stating that my cousin has been here for a while and her medical visa is running out, and it looks like she's not willing to do the procedure, so it's time for her to go back to Ghana. And if she refuses, then they're deporting her back. So she's read this, my mum and dad have, like, everyone's reading it. So my mum looks at her and says, this is the outcome, we have to start getting ready, for you to go back to Ghana. And then this is when things went left. My cousin's attitude started changing, like slowly. So she would be coming home late from work, and mind you, the salon to my mum's house is like a 3-minute walk, if not that. Do you get what I'm saying? So there was no excuse to be coming home like an hour late or an hour and a half late. So, but my mum and dad, they didn't really say nothing. They were thinking, do you know what, she could have made friends at, you know, the hair salon, so let's not really think too much into it. Until one day my mum had a dream where I believe a dog bit her leg. I think it was a dog that bit her left leg, to be precise. I want you guys to remember the left leg, right? Okay, so she had a dream, a dog bit her left leg, and she woke up with a massive scream. And when she woke up, there was a bite on her left leg. Crazy, I know, but there was actually a bite on her left leg. And I remember from there on, my mum started having really bad pains in her leg, and my mum will be laying down on the living room floor, and me, my brother, my dad, my cousin, and my first son, we would all be in the living room, and my mum will be in pain. We're all like, oh mum, oh, like rubbing her. My cousin will be sitting there like this. No flinch and nothing. She wouldn't even acknowledge my mum like she was in pain. Nothing, guys, honestly. So anyways, that would happen. And then one day now, it was time for her to come home from work. An hour turned into 2 hours turned into 3 hours turned into 4. By the time we blinked, it was 12 midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. She's nowhere to be found. In that time frame, my dad has gone to the salon like 5 times. Do you get what I'm saying? And the people in the salon are saying, oh, she left time ago. Like, she left time ago. Anyways, now we've all gone to bed, woken up, she's still not back. So my mum and dad now are getting worried, because obviously she's in their care. My mum and dad are calling around, panicking. No one knows where she is. Things aren't looking good. So now I want to fast forward a little bit. So a few months, I believe it was like 7-8 months down the line after my cousin disappeared, it was me and my dad and my son at home. I was literally washing my son's bottles in the kitchen, and in my mum and dad's house, where the kitchen is, there's a window, and that window you can see outside. So I could see people circling my dad's car. It was 2 men and 1 woman, just circling my dad's car, just, you know, looking very suspicious, but they wasn't in uniform or anything. They were in their own clothes. And then I saw that they started approaching the front door. So as they were about to approach the front door, I called to my dad, because my dad was upstairs getting ready for work. So as I was saying, oh dad, there's a few people circling your car, the doorbell went. So as I went to go and open the door, they were like, hi, we're looking for Francis Opong. And I'm like, oh, who are you? And they were like, oh, is he in? And then I'm like, daddy, someone's looking for you. So he's come down the stairs now, and they're like, hi, are you Francis Opong? And he was like, yeah, I'm Francis Opong. Then they were like, sir, you're under arrest for and human trafficking of body parts. And honestly, I just wanted the floor to swallow me whole. Like, anyways, I'm gonna end it here. I'll be dropping part 3 soon, so stay tuned. Thanks.